Hi, it's CrazyDelaney here, and some of you are probably thinking I'm a little masochistic because I'm actually going to respond to DarthTrayal's video, and I just want to challenge him with something and just see what happens here. Darth, you said in your LRH tribute video, you referred to L. Ron Hubbard as the most dynamic, genius individual of the whole of the 20th century, which is, to the best of my recollection, how I think you put it. That statement has been very troubling to me, and ever since I watched that video, that statement has been popping into my head. And to say that, you know, a lot of things occurred during the 20th century is definitely an understatement. And so I took a trip on over to Wikipedia, which is one of my favorite websites. And of course, you know, Wikipedia isn't always the best source of knowledge, but it's a good place to go to just get kind of a general, you know, introduction to what something is. So I went ahead and typed in 20th century to just kind of remind myself of all the things that occurred during the 20th century. So I went ahead and took a look, and, you know, of course, a lot of things occurred during the 20th century. A lot of bad things happened during the 20th century, and a lot of good things happened during the 20th century. And I was just reflecting on the good things that occurred. And the question that came to my mind in light of your statement that L. Ron Hubbard was the most dynamic, genius individual of the 20th century is, with all these good things that occurred, with all the advances in science and in medicine and these shifts in power, you know, on the global stage and whatnot, if L. Ron Hubbard was the most dynamic, genius individual of the whole of the 20th century, where was his hand in those events? Where is the mark of Dianetics and Scientology in those grand events of the 20th century? You know, I'm thinking even of my own knowledge of history, and I'm struggling to see any impact L. Ron Hubbard had at all outside the pretty insulated world of Scientology. And the other thing that strikes me, Darth, is, you know, I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but you're a pretty young guy, just judging by your appearance, and I find it hard to believe that, you know, someone of your age and, you know, probably limited life experience, you know, considering how young you do look, has already analyzed everything and every person that did anything of significance during the 20th century, and have come to the conclusion that L. Ron Hubbard was the most significant person of that century. And I guess my challenge to you is this: if L. Ron Hubbard truly was the most dynamic, genius individual of the 20th century, well, prove it. I mean, prove it beyond those glowing, admiring church biographies. Show us the impact that L. Ron Hubbard had beyond Scientology. Point to something, you know, in my everyday life, in all of our everyday life, in which we have to thank L. Ron Hubbard for his contribution. Because frankly, I don't buy it. And when we're being told that Scientology is something that makes us more free and, you know, makes our minds clearer and more able to confront reality, and then to have you say that L. Ron Hubbard, you know, of all the people that contributed to our human life in the 20th century, is the most significant. Well, it leaves the claim that Scientology, you know, makes you more rational, your mind more free. It leaves that claim suspect. And I would say that it would appear that my mind and the minds of others that are on the outside of your church are freer than yours, because we're able to consider those things that happened in the 20th century and elsewhere, and the individuals that lived in the 20th century and elsewhere. We're able to consider those things without the shadow of some guru cast over all of it. Well, that's all I really have to say, and I'm speaking off the cuff here, and just really off the top of my head. I'm not sure how much sense that made, but I really do hope that you think about it. And that's really all I have to say. And thank you for listening. All right. To everybody else, peace, victory, and as always, drive safe. CrazyDelaney out.